And here we go, guys, as we get into this best of 5 with Big V versus MADREAMDY. Pre-bans coming out right here.
And it'll be interesting in these pre-bans here to see what they prioritize to take out from each other's boxes, whether it's an LD unit or a core unit here. I think MADREAMDY could be looking to take out the Ragdoll from Big V's if he wants to open with Yanhong and go aggressive. So if you see a Ragdoll takeout, as we're seeing here, I think MADREAMDY is probably going to lean in more towards that Yanhong style of play. Big V taking out the Dark Onimusha is a little interesting here. I would have expected him to take out, a Yanhong or something more aggressive from MADREAMDY.
Well, and it looks like Oliver is going to be the unit that MADREAMDY is going to be prioritizing here in this draft.
Yeah, MADREAMDY is definitely looking to tee off a higher speed, faster match here, but again, not committed to that Oliver. Just so good being able to reset units, proc a million times, and dominate a match here. So that's a good flex pick. Big V should be leaning into a Masha at some point in the game. Masha is the exact counter you're going to need to fight an Oliver. Takes the Gianna really quickly, and we see an instant pick of a slower team going Juno and Shizuka.
Yeah, Juno and Shizuka. I believe MADREAMDY had an insanely fast Juno as well, if I remember correctly. Big V looking to respond to those two drafts.
And I would like to see a Narsha coming out from Big V at some point. Taking the Cadiz, which is an interesting pick here. I would have liked to see a Narsha to threaten a little bit more instant kill, instant snipe action here. Goes for the long run play of a Molly into that Juno, into that Oliver to make it a little awkward. We do see that Yanhong. We know MADREAMDY is trying to go aggressive here. But that Yanhong is going to be soloed and is going to be focused down by Big V. That's going to be the first target of attack. So Big V's probably looking to exploit that weakness there. When he lays a Praha like this, I think he's taking out Oliver and just looking to win over time with some sort of burst and be able to pick up his team and heal with the Praha and the Molly.
Yeah, because we've seen Cadiz pop off in yesterday's tournament. Cadiz can be very, very surprised with how much damage that he can bring, and we've seen builds where it's either triple revenge or maybe just violent revenge, so it could be a lot of things coming out of Big V here.
And I think MADREAMDY might be scared of the Molly here. There we go. It's the Molly and the Oliver, because the Molly presents the most volatility in this matchup. And of course, the Oliver has to be taken out, especially when you present a Praha last pick here. I do like Big V's draft a little bit more because MADREAMDY doesn't really have a ton of burst. But it'll depend if that Nana is able to get some defense breaks off and give MADREAMDY a window of opportunity.
We'll see what happens as we get into the first match between Big V and MADREAMDY. Yanhong going to be kicking us off with first turn here.
Yeah, and Yanhong's going to open up. That's a lot of damage, but unfortunately did not get that strip.
Yeah, no strips coming out there at all. Maybe he's going to try and take advantage of that branding effect that is sitting on top of that Juno to pummel in the damage, and I think he is going to be doing that exactly.
Yeah, MADREAMDY here really needs to land a defense break from that Nana and hopefully get some stuns next, because this is going to be a lot of damage that's coming onto this Juno. This Masha's going to hurt quite a bit here.
Shizuka laying that skill 2 back onto Yanhong to get that skill 2 up on Yanhong. We've got bombs potentially coming out here with the Gianna as well. He could go for a strip and remove that soul protection top of the Gianna. Just not a ton of value in doing so.
Yeah, and we see that Cadiz has revenge twice, so this might be a triple revenge build that we see out the Asia circuit a lot of times. So this Cadiz is going to be really annoying for MADREAMDY to deal with over time.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, we do have a lot of negative effects sitting on top of the Juno. It is sleeping right now, so he's going to go and try and pummel him the damage there. Masha should be there to finish off that Juno.
Wow, and that's a huge proc from that Gianna. Goes and takes out that Juno.
Yeah, big violent proc right there from the Gianna, able to cycle in all that additional damage with the first skill. Charge Vitality's up and will not be interesting enough. It will be used on itself.
Yeah, and he uses it on himself, wants to do some damage and strip that Masha there. Interesting that he did not go after the Praha and maybe do some damage, but clearly MADREAMDY's Yanhong might not do enough. Big V's in a really good spot here, has 4 units to 3 here, and just got a massive proc on that Praha.
Yeah, really good proc right there. He's going to take advantage of branding effects here. Also laying him down, getting more dots. Gianna with another additional turn, pummeling in that first skill damage on top of the Yanhong. Yanhong not having charge vitality up here to able to heal itself up. No more orbs sitting on top of the Nana either.
Yeah, and that's 2 procs that we've seen from Gianna. That's so many revenges coming out from this Cadiz here. So Big V really getting some decent RNG here. Lots of control coming out from Big V's side. 2 dots on the Yanhong. I don't see a way for MADREAMDY to take this one.
Yeah, landing that strip as well, removing that soul protection off of Yanhong. Yanhong is going to get removed from the field, using first skill to cycle a little bit of attack bar and kill that Yanhong. Definitely going to be it for MADREAMDY here. MADREAMDY is going to take his time, understanding he needs to get into match 2 and rethink his strategy.
Yeah, it definitely does need to do that. I mean, Big V looking so good. Those LD units just so powerful here. But MADREAMDY losing the Nana there. Only has Shizuka. Should take his time to think about how he wants to draft in the next game.
That is correct. Big V taking round 1 away from MADREAMDY.
Interesting pick there. I mean, I really like the approach of going turn 1 when you lay down the Oliver and then you have a Yanhong in your back pocket, but I don't know if MADREAMDY should have gone with that level of passive play. I think if you're going to lay down Oliver and Yanhong, I really think you need things like Tomo, you need things like Changpeng, you need to go in and lay the aggression in earlier. I would like to see something like that from MADREAMDY if he's going to play with that level of speed, because you got fast units, you've invested in a lot of speed there, you're going to need to be able to use that to get an advantage early on.
We'll see if that's what happens getting into this round 2 between MADREAMDY and Big V. But I really like Big V's drafting right now. Big V is being super aggressive, and we love to see it. The Cadiz, built on triple revenge, really proving itself with all those revenges on that field.
Yeah, I mean, that Cadiz on triple revenge really feels like it's on 12 revenge runes. I think it got pretty much every single revenge proc there. So, little lucky by Big V. I don't think it really made a difference there. Big V just had a great draft overall, and of course, that Gianna procking twice doesn't hurt either. But I would like to see MADREAMDY have a draft that kind of fits a little bit better together. I mean, if you're going to go Yanhong Oliver, you need some more juice in the middle of that in order to take over the game.
Well, let's see if he changes it up. Pre-bans are out. Oliver getting pre-banned, and Nana getting pre-banned by Big V.
Interesting for MADREAMDY to take out the Oliver. Basically perceives that Oliver is the key unit between the two of them. So Big V likely to take probably some sort of a Shizuka early on or something in play turn 2. But we could see any style of play, really. I mean, he has a whole bunch of LDs, so it's up to him to dictate how he wants his match to go.
Big V's got that first pick, and he's taking his time here. We haven't seen anybody take their time on their very first pick, and Big V chooses to lock in that Shizuka.
Yeah, you would expect with players doing their homework that they would know exactly which units they want to take first and counter pick 1 and 2. We do see that Shizuka lay down there. MADREAMDY does not have an Oliver to take into it, but I think he might be thinking some LD units. We could see a Masha. Masha's still a great pick here. More Changpeng is also perfectly fine into this. So many ways you can take it, and this is going to show you what he's thinking about for his later picks.
Wow, again, a Juno's getting high priority in first picks here with so many people alongside a Yanhong.
I would like to see a Masha here. MADREAMDY's basically opened himself to a Masha here. Does have a fast unit from the Yanhong, but I think the Juno and the Yanhong are going to be weak to a Masha over time. So if Big V could find a way to enable a Masha to win, that would be his path to victory. But of course, I mean, he has LD units here, and Ragdoll, as we've noticed, is always good into a Juno and pretty good into a Yanhong as well.
Yep, Ragdoll and Praha being drafted here. I do like these 2 units coming out of Big V. He's able to get a lot of value with these 3 units already being drafted. MADREAMDY looking to respond.
Yeah, and I was about to say the Dark Onimusha is a great pick here because it does not crit. And so this is going to be a great pick into Big V. I do like that Changpeng pick. Lots of aggression coming out. Could be a little awkward if the Changpeng and the Ragdoll are there together because there's a lot of turn disruption. So MADREAMDY here probably should think about banning the Ragdoll, at least the way the draft looks right now.
Yep, Masha is being drafted by Big V. We wanted to see it earlier, and I think we still wanted to see it now for Big V's draft. One more pick in the form of Diana is going to see some action.
Interesting pick on the Diana here. It's not exactly the best in the Juno, but it's good into all 3 other units here. I do like that Masha. I felt like Big V is going to need a draft in a way to enable a Masha to win the game here. And MADREAMDY really couldn't take a Masha into whatever Big V has. So that draft is great. So far, we'll see what MADREAMDY decides to bring in. It really could be anything. Could be a form of sustain. I would like to see a little bit more aggression. I think aggression would help him win the game. Some sort of a Tianlang and Isis would be great. But it goes with the Joe Gun. So some sort of a strip gives him some control here and also gives him attack buffs, which is going to enable that Dark Onimusha.
Yeah, we'll see if that's going to be enough here for MADREAMDY. Bans are going to be coming out shortly. And we have...
Gotta take out that ragdoll. You're gonna need to take out that ragdoll if your Joe Gun's your last pick. I think MADREAMDY ran out of time with that last pick there, is why the timer looks like this. If this is the pick that comes out, you have to take out that ragdoll. So that's exactly what it does there. Changpeng goes out there. So MADREAMDY is gonna have an opening with a Yunhong. He's gonna need to do enough damage with this Dark Onimusha to give him a lead off the bat.
No HP leads for both players here. Is it gonna be enough to find out if Big V is going to take this victory? MADREAMDY is going to go 1-1. Blade Fan comes out with the Yunhong. Does not land true.
Does not land, has not landed in the previous game, and does not land right now. And that Joe Gun also missing 2 critical strips.
Oof, no strip happening on this Shizuka as well. Going with the big AoE damage from this Dark Onimusha. Not getting a dismount though on the Masha. Masha with the defense break available here. Going to pummel him the damage and does land that defense break.
Does land that defense break, and I think Big V is going to get a lot of momentum here, especially with that speed buff. That Masha's going to do a lot of damage on the backswing. That Dark Onimusha just not doing enough damage, and Big V is going to be in a good spot.
And not even landing a sleep on the Juno, and the Juno would be able to heal up that Dark Onimusha, but Masha's going to continue to put the damage into that Dark Onimusha. Juno trying to cycle a little bit of attack bar. Looks like the dismount is what MADREAMDY has in mind. We do have a third skill. He can use that to keep players down, but he chooses to go for a skill 2 onto the Praha.
Yeah, I think Big V is going to take out this Dark Onimusha really soon. This Dark Onimusha just got a massive proc though. Might dismount that Masha, but does not do so.
Yeah, big proc right there. Diana might be the what's in store for Big V. Can he get rid of the Dark Onimusha with it? I believe so. Lots of damage coming through. Transforming back into the unicorn form. No stun coming out onto Yunhong.
Wow, so much aggression coming out from Big V. Taking out the Dark Onimusha. Dark Onimusha, definitely a weak unit in this matchup. Did not kill anything. Basically didn't do anything at all here. So the Yunhong's going to be able to boost around, but there is no burst damage on MADREAMDY's side right now. So looking a little tough for MADREAMDY to be able to claw his way back in.
Yeah, most definitely. Charge Vitality coming out. Get that heal onto Yunhong. Looking for some Despair Stones. Potentially just going to be tunneling it into this Diana here.
Yeah, I might just be sitting on this Diana. Do not want to give enough. Does not want to give it attack bar. But again, you do need to take care of that Masha, because that Masha, when dismounted, hurts a lot. So that's exactly what MADREAMDY is going for. But Big V just has so much resilience on his team and so much damage. It's the quick button could be pressed at any moment.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, there's a lot of things being applied to the field right now, but he does wake up the Juno, so it's just one less debuff that's going to be healed here. Masha destroys that Juno.
Yeah, Masha destroys that Juno, destroys that Yunhong. Where's that quit button? It's over.
And Big V taking round 2 away from MADREAMDY.
Wow, what a lot of aggression from Big V there, and I can't help but think maybe that Joe Gun was a mispick. You saw that timer run out for MADREAMDY, and as you went into that ban phase, you saw that that timer was kind of expired. And that's happened to me a lot on the ladder, where I run out of time. There's so many LD units you could pick from that you kind of you kind of have a brain fart there. And so he laid down a Joe Gun, which wasn't really great in that matchup, which forced him to have to ban out that ragdoll. And when you have to ban out that ragdoll, there's so much aggression coming at you later. And so Big V had a great draft and was able to take him out.
Yeah, most definitely. A very, very aggressive draft from Big V. A not so aggressive draft coming out of MADREAMDY. We finally get to see the Yunhong. Yunhong not proving enough there. Even if there was some procs in the favor of MADREAMDY, it just, I don't think he would have had enough. Masha really, really popped off for Big V.
Yeah, I mean, I think MADREAMDY did have a lot of aggression in terms of bringing in that Dark Onimusha, but that Dark Onimusha did about 70% at best, and like 70% with an attack buff. So that's not quite enough, and when you don't damage the units, you don't kill the units, and the Praha's there to heal everything up, basically you just used everything off the bat, and you don't have anything left in the tank.
Well, we have Oliver and Nana now available getting into this round 3. Big V could go for the big sweep here with MADREAMDY. Pre-bans are locked in. Ragdoll and the Dark Onimusha are pre-banned.
So same pre-bans as that first match. We'll see what MADREAMDY is thinking about. I think Oliver is obviously going to be the first pick, and we're going to probably see some sort of a Juno and some sort of a Shizuka pick from Big V here. Nana, we see a deviation from his original strategy.
Nana being the priority unit for MADREAMDY, potentially something he's trying to take away from Big V. Oliver is going to get some action here for Big V this time, taking that away from MADREAMDY.
Yeah, Nana might be a defensive pick against the Narsha that Big V has in his back pocket, but you can't really play defensive all the time, especially when your opponent has all these LDs, and Oliver is going to be really good into most of your units. So not sure about that Nana first pick. I really do like that pick of the Oliver, and the Shizuka is an acceptable pick, and basically tells us that this match is going to be kind of a mid-pace match. It's not going to be a lot of hyper aggression off the bat.
Most definitely. MADREAMDY really taking his time here on the 2 units that he's looking to draft here after seeing Oliver and Shizuka.
I would like to, Masha makes a lot of sense. I would like to see a Changpeng at some point from MADREAMDY. I think a Changpeng would be very powerful. Yeonhong here is fine to give him some first turn, some speed, but I think a Changpeng would be very dominant if Big V doesn't go into some sort of a Juno play. As is, I think those picks make a lot of sense. Big V could counter with some other LD units, goes with the Cadiz. We saw how effective that triple revenge Cadiz was, but MADREAMDY could easily choose to avoid that Cadiz, so I'm not exactly sure about Cadiz in this situation. But it is LD, so LD units are generally very good. And we see the Abuelio, which is going to make it a little awkward for MADREAMDY to get a unit down.
Yep, so Belio and Cadiz being drafted by Big V. MADREAMDY looking to respond. I'm not sure what other LDs he can bring to the table. Maybe the Pontos to try and get some value out of that.
I don't think we're going to see a Pontos because there's a Cadiz, but I would love to see a Changpeng. A Changpeng is really good here. Even into a triple revenge Cadiz, a Changpeng is going to give him a lot of versatility in this matchup, a lot of swings here that he's going to need to go his favor. Time's running out here. Does take that Changpeng, but runs out of time and goes with the Juno. And I'm not sure how this Juno is. It's not a bad pick into Shizuka and Oliver, but doesn't give him quite enough burst. If he loses that Masha, if Big V chooses to ban that Masha out, I don't know what type of burst MADREAMDY has aside from a defense break on the Changpeng's side.
Wow, MADREAMDY running out of time again. This is another occasion where we're seeing someone who must be a little nervous, unprepared from our second round finisher of last year's America's Cup.
Interesting. So when I see a Praha come out like this, it makes me feel like Changpeng is going to be the ban from Big V's side here, and he's going to let the Masha through, which makes a lot of sense. He has an Abuelio here. It's going to be a little tough to get some burst damage going. Takes out the Cadiz, and the Changpeng is banned as expected.
Yeah, definitely a very interesting draft here. Big V with the big victory in his sights. Speed leads coming out. Big V trying to get that victory here. Here we go, guys. MADREAMDY, Big V, round 3.
Yeah, and this is just going to come down to that Yeonhong not stripping again 3 times in a row. That Yeonhong has not stripped a single time.
Yep, what a terrible unit. Yeonhong not able to get any value here.
Yeah, I really think that Yeonhong does need a buff. It does need a strip on skill 2 and lower cooltime on skill 3, and give it a speed leader skill would be a great addition to Yeonhong's kit here. And I see that Big V is starting to abuse this Oliver. That's going to be his path to victory here. But MADREAMDY is going to need to snipe out this Oliver at some point and balance around this Abuelio.
Well, there's that soul protection going out and bringing the cooldowns down on top of that Oliver. Big V trying to finish off the Yeonhong, possibly getting the resets here. Masha looking to apply some big damage defense breaks. That is going to proc the passive of the Abuelio.
And that's an absolutely massive miss of the strip from the Juno earlier. Makes it so that Masha is not able to permanently remove that Oliver from the field. So Big V's able to pick up that Oliver with the heals from the Abuelio.
There's a Provoke sitting on top of the Masha, on top of the Yeonhong here. And the Despair Stuns coming up from Nana. No Despair Stuns, but 2 orbs sitting on top of Nana.
Yeah, and that's a massive proc from that Praha. He's going to allow Big V to continually pummel damage into MADREAMDY here. There are 2 orbs up on Nana's side, up on MADREAMDY's side, but that might not be enough to allow him to stay in the game here. There's going to be a lot of damage, a lot of resilience coming out from Big V as he tunnels into this Yeonhong.
And here comes the Oliver taking one of those orbs away, taking down the Yeonhong. Yeonhong does get revived here. We have Oliver with an additional turn coming up. Not able to do anything with that. Just going to
come down to the runing and the scatting here. We see the Oliver taking 1.6k damage per hit, so this Juno not doing as much as it could here. But again, we're going to see this Yeonhong go down at some point soon. It's going to be this Yeonhong versus Oliver. Which unit dies first is going to dictate the flow of the match.
Yeah, Praha healing up the team in abundance here. And we've got sleeping. We have a Juno and a Yeonhong. You may choose to wake up that Juno just to stop any healing towards the Yeonhong.
Yeah, to tell you how difficult it is to get through this team here, we have a Shizuka that's going to be able to refresh cooldowns, and we have a Abuelio and Praha full team heals. So Big V has all of that resilience going for him, and MADREAMDY needs to keep this Yeonhong alive here and only has 1 orb left on that Nana.
Well, Masha's trying to get another orb here, trying to take down that Oliver. There's no more sustain. I believe all skills are on cooldown here to get Oliver back up to health.
Yeah, but again, actually, this Oliver might be going down. There is no heals going on that. Oliver does go down, and Nana now has 2 stacks.
Yeah, Nana's got 2 stacks. Looking really good for MADREAMDY now. He's able to keep his Yanhong alive with those 2 orbs there. And we're going to see Big V try to take away those orbs as soon as possible. Yanhong does come back here. Yanhong does get stunned here as well.
Yanhong, that is a massive stun on the Yanhong. That's also a massive stun on Shizuka, but the Shizuka is able to proc out of it and does have skill 2 up coming next turn.
A lot of damage coming out of that Masha onto the Shizuka. Only Provoke is going to be landing on top of the Nana there. We're going to see a first skill to take out the Yanhong. Once again, no additional turn with no skills up on top of Yanhong.
Yeah, and Big V being very, very judicious with the use of his heals here. Needs to keep a heal available to pick up his team because that is a lot of burst that can come out from that Masha if it's able to land a defense break. So MADREAMDY needs to get lucky and take out a unit and give Nana another stack because he's about to lose his Yanhong here.
Yeah, Yanhong has no charge vitality coming out anytime soon. We have a third skill that is available. He does choose to do it, so Yanhong will be able to get... Yanhong's not going to get any sustain here because the sleep does not land on top of the Juno.
Yeah, Yanhong is going to be going down here, so we're going to have 3 units of 3 here, and MADREAMDY has 2 fire units versus 3 water units of Big V, so Big V is going to be in a pretty good spot here. MADREAMDY needs to land this defense break.
Oh, he doesn't get the defense break, but there's no heal available on top of Lebelio. Nice little stun going out onto the Nana. We do have skills available on top of Shizuka. He might just go with skill 2 on himself to get that soul protection up with cooldowns as well. Additional turn's going to be popping up.
Not sure if he wants to use that, if that Juno has strip available, but we saw earlier that Masha doing a double crit on water, so maybe you don't need to land defense break, you just need to crit 2 times. That's going to be a massive strip coming up if the Juno's able to land it.
Big strip right there, getting a ton of value out of that Juno. Masha dropped the Shizuka. Additional turns are going to be popping up here. An orb is back on top of the Nana. Nana being the unit of focus for Big V.
So much damage coming out from MADREAMDY, landing defense break. So many crits coming out. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of crits coming out of this Juno. No matter what, the elements here, he is getting the crits that he needs to deal this damage. MADREAMDY with a great response here.
And there we go. MADREAMDY is going to be able to take a match back, taking it to 1-2. We're not going to see a 3-0 sweep today.
We are not seeing that 3-0 sweep. MADREAMDY winning round 3 from Big V.
Wow, and I really feel like that match really could have gone either way. There's a lot of resilience coming out from Big V's side. You have that Praha, you have that Abuelio, you have Shizuka that can refresh the skills. Actually, in the middle at this point, there was a point where Big V chose to use Shizuka's skill 2 to refresh Praha. And I thought he could have potentially used that skill 2 onto his Abuelio to potentially allow it to proc. And if it would proc, it would protect his Oliver. And so because he didn't do that, and he didn't proc anyway, since he lost his Oliver early on. But what really made the difference there was while that Masha didn't land defense break, it landed crits. So that's just about as good. We saw that Shizuka go from basically full HP to nothing because of a double crit from fire onto water. So, I mean, that's a really, really powerful Masha there. Able to crit fire onto water back to back.
There was a lot of opposite element critting going on in that match. We'll see if that's going to continue as we get into match number 4 with MADREAMDY and Big V. Pre-bans are right here. Oliver and Nana are going to be the pre-ban units. Big V with the first pick.
Yeah, and Big V probably going to go with the Shizuka as he did earlier. But I just like aggression. I would like to see some sort of Masha, some sort of Narsha play here. I think that's very consistent. Usually when you can remove units off the field, it's a very consistent way to play. But the Shizuka is just a great unit overall. I think MADREAMDY is going to want to take a Juno at some point in this draft. It's just depending on if he takes it here or if he takes it later. He doesn't have an Oliver, so I think we're going to see maybe potentially like a Masha, Yanhong. Juno is definitely a great unit to take now because he doesn't want Big V to take it next. But we'll see if he takes that Yanhong, and that's exactly what he goes with.
I feel like this early pick Shizuka is stopping MADREAMDY for even thinking about Pontos here. But I do like to see the Yanhong and the Juno coming out finally for MADREAMDY.
Yeah, that's a great point here. I mean, one would think that when you give invincibility, it makes that Shizuka a lot better. But Pontos, in general, is just such a versatile unit. Gives you that speed lead, and also gives you, I mean, you have that cleanse. You have that invincibility. So I would like to see it. We see a Destiny. We are seeing a Destiny. Wow, I love this unit. This unit's gonna have the ability to do a ton of damage, give Oblivion, and a Leona. Okay, we're seeing the LD units come out. This is exciting.
Oh, he's taking them back. Things are about to get wild. I feel like MADREAMDY was just listening to you and be like, you want the LDs? Here they are. And he does it anyways. We've got Destiny and we've got the Dark Onimusha coming out for MADREAMDY.
Wow, I love this Destiny pick here. MADREAMDY is gonna need one more speed unit to enable his team here. So, or maybe some sort of a Changpeng or something to grant control. But that Destiny has the ability to give Oblivion, Defense Break, and do just a ton of damage off the bat, and then do another stack of damage with his other skills. So BIGV lays the double Beast Riders and lays a Narsha and Masha here. Really love those picks. Threatens the turn 1 ability. I think Yonhong is probably the ban that makes the most sense here, given the fact that MADREAMDY could pop off. MADREAMDY is going to need to kind of counter this by taking some sort of an Ethna. A Tianlang would be nice, but I don't think he has that. I would like to see a Pontos too. A Pontos would be a great way to kind of protect himself on the backcourt.
It looks like he's going to go with a Changpeng as MADREAMDY's last pick. A very exciting draft here in our round 4 between MADREAMDY and BIGV.
Yeah, and the X factor here really might be the Destiny. As much as I'd like to see the Destiny, I think it might be the right pick, right ban, because it just does so much damage off the bat. So I think the crowd wants to see the Destiny, but I think that's the correct ban from BIGV. Because if you let Yonhong pop off, he might not be able to kill something off the bat. But if you give him the Destiny, yeah, there we go. We're not going to see the Destiny, unfortunately. So as much as we wanted to see it, we're denied that pick there. So unfortunate, but still a lot of exciting units in here. We have a lot of damage coming out from both sides.
Yep, we all wanted to see that Destiny, but it might not be MADREAMDY's Destiny in this round. Here we go. Yonhong's going to be kicking off with the Blade Fan, looking for a strip at least one game.
And this Yonhong is broken here. Definitely needs a buff because it's missed strip 4 times in a row here. So unfortunate here, and right away that Beast Rider is dismounted.
Right away, it is dismounted. We have the defense break up for this Masha, looking to get some value for BIGV. He's able to land that defense break. He does land on the Dark Onimusha. Third skill is available. Will receive a heal on top of the Juno if he chooses to go for it.
Yeah, that's a lot of value that this third skill is going to bring. It's going to allow MADREAMDY to get stunned up here, and BIGV's going to have a lot of momentum going his way and take out this Dark Onimusha.
Oh, beautiful additional turn. He's going to take a Dark Onimusha down, even though the Narsha has been dismounted. It is going to help BIGV get the edge on top of MADREAMDY.
Yeah, BIGV should really think about taking out that Dark Onimusha because that Juno is going to be able to heal it here, and if he doesn't, that Dark Onimusha is going to do a lot of damage. So this Dark Onimusha needs to go down on this shot here.
Oh, he's so lucky he got the additional turns here to drop that unit.
Oh yeah, the Dark Onimusha has the passive, which allows it to stay alive here. So BIGV is going to be taking a lot of damage on the backswing when Dark Onimusha wakes up here. But it has a dot, so it goes down there anyways. So BIGV does pummel in a lot of damage with the Masha there. And BIGV's just looking so good here. I mean, this Juno here is going to do a lot of damage, but Changpeng's going to need a couple procs.
Most definitely. Well, Changpeng going to try and do his best to hold on, to keep MADREAMDY in this match, but it's looking very, very good for BIGV right now. He does have the dismounted Masha, but Masha can still apply so much damage.
Yeah, it does have a big glancing up on it, which may protect MADREAMDY a bit here. MADREAMDY's going to need to proc a couple times on that Changpeng to come back. That Juno's also going to need to work overtime if he wants a chance to come back.
Let's see what kind of damage we're going to see. Is it glancing sitting on top of the Masha? Masha may not even Masha crits through glance either way.
And MADREAMDY's taking his time here, knows he needs this proc, does not get the proc unfortunately, so we're going to see that Changpeng is going to drop here, and we're going to need a Juno solo.
We are going to need a Juno solo, and feel like it's just not going to happen here. Brings back the Narsha. Narsha removes that unit from the field. It's just a lonely Juno, and in a match between Juno and Praha, can't help but favor that Praha.
Can't help but favor that Praha, and you also have a Shizuka that's going to be able to control attack bars a little bit and has skills up, so that Juno is going to need a Despair Stun every single time if he wants a chance to win.
It is possible. We have seen moments like that before. But we'll see if that happens here. He goes with the revive, back onto the Masha. Masha gets the defense break, doesn't finish off that Juno just yet. Another Despair Stun's coming out here. Just a little first skill to do some damage to that Juno. Juno with no Despair Stun there. And there you have it, BIGV taking down MADREAMDY.